your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to helping individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, TechTarget, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts. Our certified professionals are trusted by 500-plus multinational companies, which help unlock better roles, faster promotions, and delivering cutting-edge expertise. We partner with 100-plus authorized training partners and 50-plus universities, supporting talent across all career levels, from entry-level to executive leadership. As a GSDC member, you gain lifelong access to interactive webinars, hands-on workshops, SME panels, and global summits. Join a vibrant community of 25,000-plus members and be part of our global events. Check our reviews on Trustpilot. We're trusted worldwide for quality, support, and impact. Whether you're aiming higher or building tomorrow's talent, GSDC is your partner in purposeful growth and impactful leadership. Visit our website to explore our offerings. GSDC, share the best practices and learn from the best practices. Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to digital transformation. We are an independent, vendor-neutral ISO IEC 1024 accredited certification body committed to help individuals and organizations stay future-ready in a rapidly evolving world. GSDC is accredited by the Accreditation Board for International Certification Bodies, ABICB. For 10 years, we've certified more than 100,000 professionals across Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, with our offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore. Our programs are recognized by leading publications and podcasts, including Forbes, TechTarget, People Managing People. We offer 100-plus globally accredited certifications across emerging and in-demand domains like generative AI and emerging technologies, HR and learning and development, project management and agile Scrum, ISO and quality management, information security. Each GSDC certification is designed to empower professionals with confidence and help organizations stay competitive in a fast-changing landscape. Every certification is crafted with insights from 100-plus global advisory board members representing top universities and leading industry experts.
Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're watching this session from. I would love to give you all a very warm welcome to today's session. And before that, I would love to know your locations, where you're watching these sessions from. It's always great to see how global audience is joining us, right? So please drop your locations in the chat box. And meanwhile, let me share my slides. And here we go. I hope you all can see my slides. And again, I would love to give you all a very warm welcome to our series ISO Certified Learning Future Ready Organization through ISO Excellence, Governance, and Resilience, with a theme that is strengthening resilience, security, and accountability through ISO leadership. My name is Preetham. I'll be your session moderator today. Let me know if you have any question or concern. Feel free to use the chat box, and I'm very happy to assist you all. So what makes our session more exciting that we always have this incredible panel of speakers lined up for this week. So I'll be announcing all the speakers scheduled this upcoming slides. Here we go. So please do join us for rest of the sessions which is scheduled this week, and you can use the same registration link that you have joined through right now, and this is happening on the same time slot that is scheduled for ISO track, which is 10:30 p.m. Singapore, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and 9:30 a.m. Central, and 10:30 a.m. EDT. So please do join us according to your time zones. And a quick introduction to our hosting organization, those who have joined us for the first time here, GSDC. So we known as Global Skill Development Council, we're vendor agnostic, vendor neutral, completely independent certification body, and we're accredited by ABICB. We do have 100 plus certifications portfolio with us, and we have certified more than 250,000 professionals worldwide. Also, we have 500 plus subject matter experts. Those are industry experts. So they help us to design our programs, exams, and all the deliverables. Also, we are in association with 1,000 plus multinational corporates, 500 Fortune companies, and 50 plus universities across the world. And a quick introduction to our GSDC AI Studio, a platform where we are providing 100 plus live sessions on AI, which is, of course, led by global experts, where you'll be getting 4 daily sessions, which is 45 minutes of live and impactful sessions, along with the hands-on learning, where you can apply all the concept that you have learned. And all your questions will be answered with the help of our subject matter experts and our industry leaders. So this training is aligned with industry standards for the absolute job-ready skills. And I believe this is an amazing opportunity to learn from the AI leaders, experts around the globe. And in case if you're wondering how you can access to GSTC AI Studio, kindly get in touch with our learning advisors for further assistance with this. You'll find our contact details shortly in the chat box. And I'm truly honored to welcome our both of the speakers who will be speaking on the topic, which is what top management must know about ISO IEC 27001. So I would love to give warm welcome to Philippe and Manuel. Thank you guys for joining us. We're really looking forward to your session today and learn from you guys. Thank you very much. You can have the handover of the mic now.
Thank you, Pritam. And also welcome from our side to our presentation. As I understand, you're not just here on Zoom, but we're also being restreamed on LinkedIn and I believe YouTube. So we are very excited to have every one of you here with us today. I think it's going to be very interesting to learn from what we've experienced in Europe when it comes to ISO 27001. As a brief introduction of myself before I hand over to Manuel, I've been with Deloitte Germany since 2021, so roughly 4.5 years. In our IT and regulatory compliance department, we help financial institutions to implement the IT regulation that is required by the European Union and also by the German government, and additionally also global standards such as ISO 27001 and ISO 22301 for business continuity management. I've also gained some experience in auditing, by adhering to ISO 27001 as a pre-certification audit. So we've really come into contact with a lot of organizations that have thought about this standard and have implemented this standard, and so we'll be very excited to share our insights with you today. As a quick housekeeping, you'll be able to ask questions throughout our talk here today by joining this Menti. We'll also ask some questions to you as an audience in a minute, so we're really looking forward to hearing from you here. And please, if you ask any questions to us, make sure to include your email address in the question so that we can get back to you after our keynote with a more in-depth explanation, because for time reasons we'll not be able to cover all questions really in depth. And of course, your questions will not get disclosed to any of the other audience members. So we will be the only ones that see your email address. Now, handing over to my colleague who's going to start us off with his introduction and then also the first part of our keynote.
Yes, great. Thank you very much, Philip. Very appreciated. Also for GSDC, I would like to thank for the great opportunity which we have received in order to give you some updates regarding the question what top management needs to know about the ISO 27001. So we are happy to be here and looking forward to a good and constructive session. So what my colleague already told, he said that it would be nice and it would be really very appreciated if you could join the menti.com by typing in the pin, which you can see here on the right-hand side. And then you can add your questions. Then what would also be very appreciated, it would be if you understand that we cannot go into too much detail with regards to the slides as we are giving some kind of high level information because when you have or if you have some further detailed questions, then we can do this one-on-one in a detailed session, for example. And I think that this would be then a much better opportunity when we join these sessions one-on-one, and then we can get in touch. And I think this would be of a very, very big value added for you. So to my person, Manuel, my name, I gained experience during several roles regarding the ISO 27001, both in the role of an auditor and also in the role of an auditee. And I'm with Deloitte since about 6 years. From now on in several roles regarding the information security audit, cybersecurity audit, and also based upon several consulting projects also regarding information and cybersecurity. Philip, do you want to also give a small introduction on your person, or did you already?
I think we'll also share the slides afterwards, and I think for time reasons,
Good idea.
we should probably leave it at that.
Okay, then I think we can already dive into the Menti.
Yes, we also want to get to know you as an audience a little bit better since we're from Europe and we're going to be sharing some insights from the European Union and the financial services sector. We also want to understand where you guys are coming from to maybe then also give some information on how these concepts, these European concepts, could be transferred to other regions and other sectors. So I see one person from Europe. Is there anyone from outside of Europe?
Okay. So we have one from the UK and the other 22. Great. The counter is now incrementing. Africa. Great. North America. Sounds good. Okay. 2 from North America. Africa. Great.
All right. I think we can over to the second question, which is from which business sector you are joining us. As mentioned, we are from financial services, but there might be some of you guys out there who are working in other sectors at the moment.
Okay, very good. Financial services already too. Information technology and consulting. Okay, this sounds also very good. So information technology, one bullet. Consumer, we have also one bullet. Healthcare, great. Information and cybersecurity for healthcare is also very relevant, of course. Okay, at least we have 4. So let's dive into our presentation. So what lies ahead of us in the next, let's call it one hour. So we brought with us a small agenda. So first of all, we will have a look at the cyber risks and the current threat landscape. These 2 big topics will have, of course, a big impact on how companies are shaping their infrastructures in order to stay operationally resilient. Afterwards, regarding the Europe and the financial services industry, there is, of course, one overarching legislation, and this is the DORA. And DORA does have lots of requirements regarding information and cybersecurity. So for the ones who have already or who got already familiar with DORA, they know about what I am talking of. Moreover, the last chapter encompasses one possibility of how the most recent version of the ISO 27001 contributes to being a good approach in order to enhance the operational resilience. So here we will give you some kind of transfer from cyber risks to DORA and to how the ISO 27001 supports the requirements from the DORA. So and on the last section, we are diving deeper into the questions and answers, of course. So on the next slide, we can see the cyber risks and the most relevant cyber risks, including the threat landscape. So what we brought with us, that's the BSE, the threat landscape report. Oh, thanks, DORA. Yes, of course, I forgot it. Sorry for that. DORA means Digital Operational Resilience Act. And this is the most recent or the most relevant regulation or legislation in Europe. And now we can see here the BSE threat landscape report and some key facts. So the cyber threat situation in Germany, and not only in Germany, but generally spoken also for the entire globe, remains very tense and is at a strained level. And the core problem is not only the threat actors, but of course also the fact that many systems are internet facing, and this means that the web attack surface is very high, so or very big. So that's the reason why the several threat actors are able to exploit these vulnerabilities very easily, as the web servers are, when they are not really patched or receiving some security controls, are of course vulnerable. Moreover, we have the ransomware, and the ransomware remains dominant criminal threat, but the modus operandi, and this is what the BSI, the Bundesamt für Sicherheit in der Informationstechnik, tells us, shifting towards data theft and extortion. So BSI is some kind of institution in Germany having an overlook over the entire information security and cybersecurity landscape. So on the next slide, we can have a look on the recent cyber attacks in the financial services industry. And the most recent cyber attack, which was AI related, was done by UNC 1069. So it's a North Korean threat actor targeting a company being active in the fintech sector. It was a crypto fintech. Recently in the beginning of this year, and they already used some kind of AI. This means they compromised Telegram account, a fake Zoom call, and an AI generated deep fake video. And based upon that, they were able to infiltrate the entire network, doing some kind of or lots of malicious things. So you can see that AI is already widely used by threat actors. And this confirms also our consulting work at Deloitte. So what we have seen so far is that reconnaissance, technical research, targeting, and phishing are supported by AI work, or generally is supported through AI. So on the next slide, the digitalization brings new cyber risks. So the digitalization, of course, is one possibility which is often exploited by the several threat actors. This means that the digitalization is the biggest concern, and it's further evolving, especially against the background of AI, of course. What I mentioned before is that there are larger digital attack surfaces, and these kind of digitalization strategies are being implemented by the financial institutions. Moreover, we have in the financial services industry an increasing interconnectivity with increasing dependencies, especially on the service provider, and this goes hand in hand with third-party risks. Moreover, what is also a very relevant threat or attack vector is, of course, the shortage of skilled workers, which is exploited also by the threat actors. What we can see here on the I'm back, Philip. I wasn't ready. Wasn't finished so far. Thanks. The AI is an amplifier, and what I just or what I recently told is that the AI is of course an amplifier, and the artificial intelligence accelerates both the scale and also the sophistication of cyber threats, not only for the attackers, but thanks God also for the defenders. This means both to have the same tools, and at the moment it is some kind of competition who is faster. And with Mythos how is it called? How was it? Mythos and I forgot now the Claude AI. So with Mythos, Mythos is one possibility, or a AI with this, or which is able to identify the relevant vulnerabilities much faster than anyone else can think of, and that's also a possibility which needs to be remediated in the future. So the next slides. Yes. So what's the background of the DORA? We have the overview of the European DORA regulation, and that's the several points why DORA is needed. So DORA treats cyber risk as a business resilience issue and not just an IT security issue. And moreover, the main message of DORA is that it needs to be a stronger resilience, or it's responsible for creating a stronger resilience against digital risks through the establishment of a unified regulatory framework. And that's the reason, or one of many reasons, why DORA was created by the different supervisory authorities. Moreover, the risks arising from the increasing interconnectivity of the financial sector, the dependencies on the third parties against the background of the outsourcing, are two further points why DORA was created by the European supervisory authorities. And the scope includes not only banks, but also other companies, like, for example, insurance companies or investment banks, and so on. Okay, so the next key message, what are the focus points of DORA? So the focus points are resilience capability. This means DORA is one possibility or one legislation which controls risks arising from the increasing interconnectivity of the financial sector. Moreover, the DORA encompasses several requirements regarding outsourcing, and it also facilitates easier access to information on the ICT-related incidents, and it creates also synergies. So what I have explained now a few moments ago will be seen in the next slide, which we have prepared. Yes, these are the requirements which are created or which need to be followed by each financial services institution in Europe. So we have 5 pillars in total. We have the ICT risk management, the handling of ICT-related incidents, and the testing of digital operational resilience in the same way like we have the ICT third-party risk management and information sharing. These are the 5 main columns and pillars regarding the DORA, and within each column we have several requirements. And about what we want to talk today and what top management needs to know about ISO 27001 is hidden in the ICT risk management pillar. This means in the first pillar, and this is described on the next slide, Flip. Thanks. And what we can now see here, that's the ICT risk management, including the several articles. So the ICT risk management pillar consists of several articles, for example, governance and organization, risk management framework, asset management, BCM, business continuity management, capacity management, and communication. And overall, the ICT risk management focuses on the identification, assessment, and the mitigation of these risks, which we have seen a few moments ago. This means the cyber risk threat landscape. And when we have now a much closer look on the ICT risk management framework, then we need to take a look on article number 6. And here the ISO 27001 comes into play because the ISO 27001 is one possibility of how to implement the key requirements which are demanded by the DORA, and these requirements can be seen here, especially requirement number 4, annual review and continuous improvement. So this means the ISO 27001 needs first to be implemented, and to which extent or what key points are relevant or very important when it comes to the ISO 27001 implementation. We will hear from Philip, and afterwards, after having it implemented, then it needs to be audited. And then this requirement number 4, 1, 2, and 3 is also partly very relevant. Okay, and now what are the key takeaways? So the key takeaways in order to implement the DORA ICT risk management requirements. So as I already told you, that's one possibility. However, the ISO 27001 is a practical way to implement many of DORA's ICT risk management requirements, because both, this means DORA and ISO 27001, are built on the same core logic. We have governance, we have risk-based controls, we have documentation, we have monitoring, and also the continuous improvement. So these points are equal or are the same when we have a look at the DORA and also the ISO 27001. Moreover, when we have a look at the ISO 27001, then this requires active leadership, risk ownership, and also continuous oversight. And these points are not only in the ISO 27001 relevant, but also for the DORA and the ICT risk management framework. So when we have now a look at the ISO 27001 and the implementation, we have now created an overview for you, a high-level overview, in order that you receive, or for you to receive some kind of overview, what needs to be understood when top management wants to implement the ISO 27001. And these steps will be detailed by Philip then. First of all, here we have prepared for you some kind of high-level overview, and I will hand over then or now to Philip, who explains you the detailed steps.
All right, thank you, Manuel, for sharing your insights and for also sharing why ISO 27001 is so relevant for any organization, not only in Europe, where you might need to adhere to DORA, or the Cyber Resilience Act for anyone who's not into financial services, or NIS2 for anyone who's not into financial services, but also anywhere else in the world, because the threat landscape really does not change depending on your location. And so we've prepared this timeline for you. You can see it's roughly 90 days. That will, of course, depend on the nature of your organization and also your current IT maturity and the maturity of your IT landscape. So that's why when we look at the framework and setting the groundwork for the ISO implementation, we would definitely recommend you starting firstly to understand and then to implement these core components that the ISO 27001 introduces, which is, of course, firstly, the key requirements is laid out in clauses 4 to 10, where it starts in clause 4 already with understanding the context, understanding your organization, your organizational maturity, and also your strategic ambition, and also, of course, your risk tolerance. And then in Article 5, is where you step in as part of top management, as part of the leadership team, because that is also what's being emphasized by regulators such as in the DORA, that you, as part of top management, really need to be a front runner when it comes to information security, and also in creating the awareness around information security and your ISMS. And then afterwards, you'll head into the planning phase where you need to identify the risks that and the threats that your organization faces in the current threat landscape. You'll need to identify then possible information security controls to be able to mitigate these risks and treat these risks. Here, you can have a look at Annex A of the 27001, where they've set out quite a few very good organizational controls that you can implement to address a lot of possible information security and cybersecurity risks. And then you'll create a statement of applicability for your organization where you really formally lay out which controls will be implemented during the implementation phase, what kind of residual risk will be left afterwards, and then, of course, how you want to treat the residual risk if there's a possibility to get insurance for some of them, or if you have to withhold the necessary funds to be able to cover any financial losses or financial penalties if any of the risks were to materialize. And afterwards, of course, after you've implemented your ISMS, you will want to monitor the performance of your ISMS. Here's also where you really want to integrate your internal audit function as well, to not only have your employees and your systems monitor performance and monitor threats, but also have an independent body inside your organization or an external auditor as well to monitor the performance. And then based on that these reports, you will want to think about continuous improvement, because if you look at what Manuel just told us about the risk landscape, and of course now with AI as well, the threat landscape is evolving very quickly. It's especially been there. We've seen some big jumps in the sophistication of threat actors now with AI and the improvements in AI, and so therefore your continual improvement cycles need to adjust as well, and you will really, from a top-down perspective, you as leadership need to drive this and emphasize this, that continual improvement is needed throughout the whole implementation phase and afterwards, to help ensure that your organization is going to be resilient and future-proof. In the risk identification phase, we really want to emphasize that you identify risk based on the CIA triad that we've listed below. So any risks that target the confidentiality of your own data or data that you receive from your clients or from your employees, any risks that could lead to possible publication of that data, or that external parties get access to that data, they should be addressed in your risk assessment and also in risk treatment. Then, of course, any risk to integrity. Here's also where we will see a lot of security controls when it comes to encryption and SIEM, SOC, and technical possibilities to really target threats to confidentiality and integrity. And then, of course, you want to think about availability as well, because especially if you have clients where you have SLAs with that have an uptime included in the SLAs, you might face financial penalties as well, next to reputational damage if your services are unavailable for any amount of time because of a risk that materializes. Now we want to take a look at changes that have been made by the ISO/IEC organization to the framework, the ISO 27001 framework between 2013 and 2022, which is the newest version. And we can see here that there's been quite a few interesting changes. We can see that there's far less controls in the technological and organizational part, but there's more controls when it comes to people and physical security. And also within, especially within the technological controls, we can see on the right-hand side some very interesting changes, which also reflect what Manuel told us beforehand on the changing threat landscape, meaning the ISO focuses much more on cloud security, on business continuity management, physical security, configuration management, data leakage prevention, also on how you delete information and how you make sure that deleted information cannot be restored. Then, of course, monitoring activities, which also transfers to a SIEM, Security Operations Center, the possibility of security orchestration and automated response capability. You could think of endpoint detection, network detection. You could think of user entity behavior analytics. So there's a lot of possibilities for monitoring, and here this is also what the regulator in the DORA, the European regulation, emphasized, that you need to have these capabilities in place to be future-proof, because they enable you to identify any threats before they can materialize, and they enable you to react quickly before your organization can take major damage. And also, you want to think about secure coding, especially with Mythos by Anthropic that Manuel also briefly talked about, where they announced that it is really good at identifying weaknesses in code. So implementing secure coding practices and also creating the or providing the right training for your personnel to implement these and adhere to these secure coding practices is critical to ensure your resilience. If we have a look at the possibility of an ISO 27001 implementation in your organization, we briefly want to highlight the cost drivers and key decision factors that you guys will need to think about before the implementation. Of course, internal resources are critical. You cannot rely fully on just external resources, although depending on your IT maturity, we would advise that you get external help as well. And you will also need to think about certification fees if you want to be accredited, which we would definitely recommend you do, because you can also publish your accreditation publicly and have that as a signal to your clients and your customers that you think about information security and that they can be ensured that your processes are secure. And also you want to think about the technical implementation costs of systems such as the ones I just mentioned before that you want to implement. And then you're looking at an implementation duration of 4 to 9 months, depending on the size of your organization and your current IT maturity. And that also is linked to the key decision factors we see on the right, where you really want to look at your objectives, your maturity, and your internal capabilities, also the capabilities of your internal audit and the capabilities of your staff. And you want to look at then how you can create acceptability and awareness for the change that you're about to impose. And then you want to also look at potential other existing compliance efforts that you have in place, such as the NIST for any Americans or North Americans at least, the PCI DSS, GDPR, COBIT, because there are a lot of overlapping topics in these regulations, and so you can probably reduce your implementation duration a lot if you've already thought about some of these before. Here, I already mentioned a lot of these controls that were newly introduced in the ISO 27001 in 2022. So we'll not go through them again in detail, but I think as you can see here, this really is a reflection of what we see as well in the threat landscape, because threat actors have become so much more sophisticated around the world, and the threats and also the amount of attacks that we see that do materialize are increasing so much around the world. If we look at a possible roadmap for implementation, we would structure it roughly this way, where you start with understanding the changes and also communicating the possible changes in your organization and to your employees. We expect that you need roughly 2 weeks for that, and also for a possible gap assessment to understand where improvement is needed and where controls introduced in ISO 27001 have not yet been implemented in your organization, but where you think, depending on the nature of your organization and your strategic ambition, those should be implemented in the future. Then afterwards, you will draft your ISMS and your statement of applicability. You will identify your risks as well, as I already talked about. And then in step 3, you will draft your policies and procedures. And afterwards, you can start thinking about the certification. And then after the certification is complete and after week 11, you will assign roles and responsibilities and communicate the change inward to be able to then have everything that's been implemented also be included in your own ongoing day-to-day business practices. And then, of course, in step 7, as a result of that, of you as an organization living that that change and living information security, you're being able to also improve there and after. If we look at the steps in detail, I think I've already talked about a lot of them, but for steps 1 to 3, we really think it depends here the quickness on how quick you can implement, you can conduct these sits with the gap assessment, where also depending on the current maturity of your organization and also the maturity of your governance really creates the difference here between it taking 3 or 5 weeks, also depending then on if you have to conduct interviews with your personnel or if everything is documented already, so you can just go through the documents themselves to understand where your organization currently stands. When drafting the ISMS manual, of course, that is where you as a leader need to be included as well, because that is going to be the foundation for the implementation, also for your statement of applicability. So we really want to emphasize throughout the whole life cycle of the implementation and afterwards that you as top management need to step in and to really show your involvement in this ambition. And we would suggest that it takes roughly 3 weeks for the information security policy to be completed. I think that also depends on the nature of your organization and the current version of your governance. So it might take you a little less time, might take you a little longer if you need to think about what you want to put in there in more detail, if there's more stakeholders involved. The certification should take you roughly 2 weeks. And then for assigning roles and responsibilities, you could probably already start with that during the implementation phase, but then it will take you roughly a week after the implementation to really get these people on board with their new roles. And then continual improvement. We said it would take roughly 3 weeks to put the system in place to be able to live continual improvement there and after, and to have that included as part of your business day-to-day work. For the audit process, if you want to do the certification, it is normally structured in a 3-way process where you start with a documentation review, such as, for example, your information security policy. Then the auditor, the external auditor, will audit your controls and how you've operationalized your information security controls, and also how you identify and treat information security related risks. And they will also conduct ongoing surveillance to ensure that you conduct the continual improvement, that you think about the future and future threats and future ways to make your organization more resilient towards cyber and information security related threats. So as a key takeaway, we would like to emphasize for top management that you should act now. The transition deadline was the October 31st, 2025 for the ISO 27001. So you should start immediately. Also because the threat actors do not wait for you to implement the necessary measures. So you've got to be aware of that. And then, of course, as a leader, you should own your statement of applicability. You should be involved in the creation of the statement of applicability. And yeah, you should not completely outsource that process to an external party, just because an external party will not be able to understand your organization as much as you can as someone who's directly involved. Then you should emphasize in your communication in your organization that compliance is continuous, does not end with the end of the implementation project. And that also requires a leadership buy-in by you and other members of senior management, because you really will set precedents for how your employees behave and how much they think about information security in their day-to-day business. And then, of course, beyond compliance, compliance is not the value that you're looking for. You do not just want to be compliant to DORA or to another regulation. The real value added is resilience and a secure digital foundation, and the you being ensured that your organization is going to be able to withstand any threats that the current and the future threat landscape impose. So that brings us to the end of our keynote. We're very much looking forward to any questions that you guys have or any insights that you guys can share from your day-to-day business. I know that depending on your sector and your location, the regulatory foundation differs a lot. I mean, Europe tend to be the front runner when it comes to any form of regulation. So depending on your location, you might not have that as an argument in your organization to start. But as mentioned, it's really not about compliance, but more about resilience and ensuring your organization is future proof, regardless of whether or not there's a regulatory requirement for you to be so. And of course, in terms of data security, especially for the ones in banking, financial services, and healthcare, I mean, you've got HIPAA as well in the United States, ensuring the confidentiality of the data of your clients is key to not only ensuring regulatory compliance, but also to ensure your reputation stays intact. So if that were to happen, that any data is leaked outside of your organization, you might face severe financial losses just because clients might go to other service providers, not you.
So I believe that we are open for the Q&A, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Manuel and Philippe, for your insight, sharing your insights, one of the important topic in ISO today. And as we are open for the Q&A, I would like to inform all the participants, please drop your questions through that link. I'll be sharing the link that Philippe has shared with me earlier. Also, you can drop your questions right away here in the chat box so we can take the questions, as we still have 5 to 10 minutes to cover your questions. And also have to make an announcement that we'll be having hands-on learning at the end of this session. So please stay connected till the end, as our subject matter experts, Vikas, will be joining us shortly to share the hands-on learning. So please stay connected till the end and please drop your questions right away in the chat box. Thank you.
So team, as we are waiting for questions, I think there is something. Okay, there is a question from Tohib. Philip and Manuel, if you want to take that.
Yes, one moment. I just clicked on it.
Is that a question? No, he is just introducing. Okay.
I have got one question across live platform.
Okay.
This question is asked by Richard. I have sent it on the chat box.
Okay. Pritam has posted a question here in the chat.
All right, we've received a question. Many organizations view ISO IC 27001 as a compliance requirement. From a leadership perspective, how can top management leverage ISO 27001 as a strategic business enabler rather than just a certification exercise? Manuel, if you want to talk on that.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I think that this is a very good question. Of course, it's absolutely relevant that the top management also needs to be integrated and that it needs to be seen as some kind of business enabler. So what top management can do here, they can, for example, get the leadership buy-in from the CEO on the first hand. On the other hand, the requirements can be written down in the business strategy. So we have then the business strategy, which is amended or which is added with the relevant requirements from an information security or cybersecurity perspective. And then the business strategy can be aligned with the IT strategy, and from the IT strategy, it can flow from top to down to the relevant strategic documents, policies, for example, then the processes, and then down to the implementation on a technical level. So the requirements flow from top to down, and that's the answer, I think, on this question from also a practical perspective.
All right, thank you. We've already received another question. What are the most common mistakes senior executives make when implementing or overseeing an information security management system? How can they avoid them to ensure long-term success? I think it really starts with top management buy-in. So if you don't communicate the ambition in your organization, you don't live the change, and you don't live information security, and you promote information security, that's where you will see your ambition of the implementation fail, because your employees will not just do it on their own if you as a leader don't set the example.
Absolutely, but I agree absolutely to what Philip said. I would like to add some kind of leadership through example. This means only if you lead by example. This means, or this already starts with easy things. So, for example, take on the perspective of an information security officer, and the information security officer travels with his teammates in a train, and the information security officer performs confidential business calls in the train, or forgets to put on his notebook the privacy filter and types very confidential emails in the train. then this is of course not really leadership by example. And I think that you understand what I mean. So this is leadership by example. So you live information security, you know that cyber and information security is very relevant and very important. And then you behave also in this way. You do not talk, but you walk the talk. Yeah, that your team members also see, okay, my supervisor is the opinion that information and cybersecurity, of course, is very relevant in order to achieve business goals. And then I'm following his leadership as well.
All right, we've received another question. All the 93 controls that are stated in ISO 27001:2022 are required to be implemented by all type of organizations, like those from the financial sector, the services sector, supply chain, systems, hospitality management, software development. ISO 27001 is a standard. It's not a regulatory requirement. So if you do not want to get accredited, you're very much free to implement whatever you feel applicable towards your organization. That's also linked to what I talked about earlier when it comes to identifying the risks and then identifying the necessary controls that you need to put in place to address and mitigate these risks. And I think the ISO 27001 includes some or a lot of very relevant controls for all kinds of organizations, regardless of the sector they're operating in. So I would say most of the 93 controls are not required to implement, only if you want to get accredited. But you should really think about reasons why you wouldn't implement them if you want to stay resilient. I think yeah, that's the main message.
Yes, very good, very well answered, Philip. But I would like to emphasize here what Philip already stated is that you can implement all of the 93 control if you want. However, if you do not, or if some of the 93 controls are not applicable for your organization, then you can use the SOA, the statement of applicability, and you can cross out some controls, but you need to highlight why you are crossing out these, let's say 3 or 4 controls, because, for example, you do not have some physical entry points or something like that. If you are totally cyber, if you are a firm with or which does not have any physical fences or something like that. But I doubt it that some kind of companies exist only in the cyberspace without any physical barriers or appearances.
Well, of course, if you don't use cloud, for example, you could cross those controls out in the statement of applicability.
Correct, yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe introduce other ones as well, because if you don't use cloud, chances are very high you have your own data center, and you might want to focus more on physical security than.
Absolutely correct. Correct, yeah. Absolutely.
Perfect. So thank you, Manuel, and thank you, Philip.
Yes,
That was really wonderful answering those questions, and what a beautiful way to articulate the European DORA regulation and those ISO 27001 2022 controls and the 11 new controls. So what I have done for the team is I've got some challenge for them just to see if they remember a part of whatever we did, but we'll add a fun part to it. So this challenge, they don't have to do it alone. They will have an assistant there. So I created a link here. I want everyone to go to that link, and let me show you what happens when you click on that link.
Yes, great.
Okay, I'm going to present my screen. And please confirm if you could see my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So team, now once you click on that link, you will come to this page, enter your name and email address, and then click on start. So here it's going to take us
I think we have another question.
Yeah, meanwhile, you can address that. I think Vikas is facing some network issue. Meanwhile, we can, of course, please go ahead and address that question. Thank you. Thank you.
Your experience, which type of organizations are more complex and implement and who? Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, and now I'm giving the answer, which is very obvious for some kind of audit company like we are. So it depends. Because you can have a small company, and a small company consists of, for example, X controls regarding network segmentation, or they have very complex intrusion detection prevention systems, and a CM SOC. However, you have a mid-sized bank which is not so complex because they have outsourced all of their processes into a CM SOC. Then this is relatively easy to implement and also to audit. However, if you have a very complex company with 100, or you have a complex company with 100 employees, then it's of course which comprises of, for example, cloud services, which comprises of CM SOC, which comprises of very complex BCM processes. Then you need to really think of which kind of controls you will incorporate into the SOA and then into the audit. Well, it can be that you have a very small company with 100 employees and you include all of the 93 controls based upon the ISO 27001 Annex A, or you have a company with, for example, 10,000 employees, and it's very easy. And you do not have, for example, physical barriers because they are all migrated into the cloud. So there is not really a quite satisfying answer. Then it depends, and that's unfortunately the only answer which I can give here. Or Philip, do we have other insights regarding that?
No, I think you're absolutely right. You can face challenges with the implementation of ISO 27001 in any organization, in any sector of any size. Also, depending on how easy it will be for you to get a buy-in by your employees. Challenges you face internally within this change. So you'll not only need to think about the how complex your organization is, but also the structure of your workforce and how open they are to the change.
Yes, I think this is a good point you are bringing up, Philip. So one very big point which is often neglected is the complexity of the human mind and the willingness to work together. Because when we are doing our audits and also our consultancy projects, then we often do have the experience that the service provider are always running the show and are always front runners. And it's good for us, of course, because we are not only a company we are not a company who do not want to earn money, but it needs to be, of course, lived and run by the company, and these are the employees and not the service providers.
Wonderfully answered, both of you. Thank you very much. And I think we have Vikas back.
Yep,
Vikas,
I'm back.
Perfect. Glad to have you back. Thanks.
So thanks. And I think all of a sudden Zoom stopped working for me, and I would share my screen again. Let's see if I'm lucky this time. So team, do you see my screen?
Indeed.
So I think everyone got the link, and you have to just go and click on that particular link, and you will come to this page. So this challenge is related to what we discussed today, but I have added a fun part as an AI to it. So let's say you have a scenario. You are a compliance officer at a mid-size financial services company, and your manager has asked you to create a quick reference guide that explains the key DORA regulation controls and 11 new ISO 27001-2022 controls in simple language. Use ChatGPT to generate this guide so your team can understand what each control means and why it matters. So all you need to do is open a ChatGPT and start a new conversation. Ask ChatGPT to explain the main focus points of European DORA regulation in 4 to 5 bullet points using simple non-technical language. And in the same conversation, ask ChatGPT to list the 11 new controls from ISO 27001-2022 with a one-sentence explanation for each. And ask ChatGPT to create a short summary comparing which DORA and ISO 27001-2022 controls overlap or complement each other. And submit your output in the box below. Paste a screenshot of the ChatGPT conversation, the full text response, or a link to your chat. Now, the best part would be that you would see if those compliances or those standards from DORA and ISO 27001-2022, do they overlap or do they complement each other? So you have to find that. And in the end, you have to just get those responses and explain what you understood from the challenge, how did you approach it, walk us through your approach, and paste your output here. And then in the end, submit work. This is what you have to do. And this is nothing but it's going to summarize what we learned. We'll have that learning with us always. So I hope everyone has understood what is the challenge, and I hope people are going to do this challenge. So team, I would request you to go ahead and answer these questions, and there would be surprises that might come to your way. Yeah. So that's from my end. I would stop sharing my screen and I would hand it over to Preetham.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Vikas, for sharing hands-on for today. And I would like to encourage all of the participants to please complete that challenge. I hope this will definitely help you all, because this is something that implementation and we believe not in just learning, but then implementation. So please do follow all these steps and complete your task. Once you're done with your task, please do share the outputs on the social media platform by tagging GSTC and our speakers, so we can have the visibility on that, and definitely we'll be picking one of the best that, and we'll be making that professional, we'll be giving the recognition and fame across social media platforms. So please do share your task, complete them. And yes, as we are concluding our session here, I would like to ask Manuel and Philip to share their final thoughts with all our audience today who joined today's session.
Yeah, so Philip, do you want to start?
Sure. I think my final thoughts are that if you, as top management, and that was what we started out with today with the message, what you need to know as top management is that if you want to ensure that your organization is future-proof, it's at least against information security and cybersecurity related threats, that then that you need to set precedent in your own behavior, and you need to lead by example. And only then, if you do that, you set the foundation for successful ISO 27001 implementation, and for your organization to to navigate the evolving threat landscape.
Yeah, I think that these are great words, Philip. Thanks. I would like to add that leadership by example is one of the very much important, or the most important aspects which you can emphasize regarding information security leadership, because only if you act by example, then your teammates and team members are following you. And so be persistent, be consistent, and be always consistent when it comes that your words need to align with your actions. So walk the talk. And if you preach information security and cybersecurity, then also live it and be also always consistent when it comes to what you say and what you are doing.
Wonderful. Thank you, both of you. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts and insights on today's topic. We're really grateful and we look forward to have more sessions with both of you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Vikas. So here I'll be just quickly showing you all a closing notes. So I would like to make an announcement that we have 3 winners who are the referral champions who have referred maximum people to this session. So let's congratulate to them and appreciate them for referring maximum people to our series. So it's always great. It's something that our professionals are taking step ahead and becoming thoughtful leader by referring people to sessions like this, knowledgeable and powerful, isn't it? So please do refer maximum people, be winner, as all the winners will be getting rewards, which is worth $400, and top 3 winners will be featured on the GSDC Wall of Fame. So please do refer maximum people. You can use the same registration link and share it with your colleagues and folks. And a quick announcement that we'll be having this another series which is scheduled at 11:30 p.m. Singapore, which is almost started. So you can use the registration link that I've already shared in the chat box. If not, I'll share it right away. So this is we have the panel of learning and development experts will be sharing their insights on building agile, skilled, and future-ready workforces through learning innovation. So please do join us. And here is our, please bear with me. Here's our utility tool. This tool, we have introduced this in the GSDC earlier. So this tool is all about to level up your profile. It will help you to improve your LinkedIn profile score, your AI skills score. It will also help you to build your personal brand, and this will create AI generated resumes as well. Grab this opportunity. You can use AUG100 as a code to get 100% off, which is absolutely free. And this is only for our webinar attendees. So grab this opportunity, do check this out. And in case if you face any issue at any stage, please do let me know at preetham@gsdcouncil.org. I'll coordinate with the technical team and we'll get the resolution for you. And thank you everyone for joining us and making it more interactive, asking such amazing questions. Always great to see your encouragement. That keeps us motivating. Thank you everyone. I'll see you for the rest of the session scheduled for this week. And thank you, gentlemen, again. We'll look forward to have you again for the sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.